Boy, if that video intro doesn't get you hyped up enough that this man is back for not only his third year, but the franchise's third year, I don't know what will. That's Danny Martin. This is our PodCATS summer signing series. And our first episode, a conversation with our captain, Danny Martin, who will come back second season wearing the C, third overall with the team. Danny, first of all, initial thoughts. I know you gave a little bit of a quote there in the press release, but
Right.
initial thoughts on being back here with the organization for what all of us, I think, feel is going to be our biggest year yet.
I mean, I think it has to be. We have, I feel like we have a lot of potential. So I think we have a lot of guys looking forward to this season, a lot of guys getting ready. And I feel like we built a lot as far as gaining experience this past season. A lot of players that, were rookies will now, they'll feel a little different in the league. Our whole team gained some playoff. If you look at our playoff roster, we had 4 guys that have played in the playoffs before. Now we should have, we have a very similar group coming in here, and lots of young talent. Now we're adding some experience and definitely some good confident players, and just really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and you said it right there. I mean, I hate to harken back to my team and your team as far as NHL is concerned, but I mean, you look at your Ottawa Senators, you look at my St. Louis Blues, there were not a whole lot of guys on either of those rosters that had a ton of playoff experience.
Right.
So, you kind of parallel that to what we have here at Blue Ridge. And as you said, only 4 of those guys had prior Commissioner's Cup playoff experience. So, for you guys and the other veterans to be able to lead those guys, albeit it was a much shorter run than any of us wanted, but you're able to gain that experience, and it's going to pay off this year.
Well, the playoffs in this league are so short. I mean, we won that first game, and that was huge for the organization, huge for all the players. And then, we got a taste of that second round, or however we want to call it. That was a real playoff experience, and getting past that round and getting to the finals, to me, is like it's a big step, but it's quick. It's only a 5-game difference. And I was watching the rest of the playoffs after that, and I mean, even though it goes for 3 more weeks, there's not a lot of hockey played. So to me, 3 games of playoff experience just goes a really long way. There's guys. Most of that Carolina team we lost to had a lot of playoff experience, and I don't want to bring them into the conversation, but at the same time, I've talked to some of those guys, and they did not want to play against us. Now, we didn't have the result we wanted, but I think we gained some important experience, and I think going into this next season, you get to love everyone you play with, but this group was special, and I just can't wait to see what we can bring in this year.
I'm with you 100% on that. And I'm glad you brought up that, because it's kind of key to parallel that to the next question, which is kind of the growth of the organization from year 1 to year 2, because I was talking to Carson Andreoli a few days after the season ended, and he said that, one of the big things that was brought up in the handshake line and kind of just talking in between whistles was a lot of the Carolina guys have a tremendous amount of respect for the team that was put together this year, and the strides that were made, and how difficult you guys were to play against.
Yeah, well, so a big part of this league is that there's always new teams, right? And those teams that have the experience, I say experience, but it's not just that. It's just known talents that, guys that put up 100 points. If you're, just a team that's full of players that have really good scoring ability, once they see, oh, there's a new team coming in, it's pretty common for them to be like, okay, this game's going to be a blast. And I would say the first year, a lot of teams would come in with full confidence. Well, this year we made it pretty clear early on that we weren't going to be fun to play against. Now, towards the end of the season, I know for a fact that nobody wanted to play against us. And so coming into this next season, playing against us is going to be extremely difficult. And coming into Hitachi Energy Arena isn't going to be a fun task. I think people are going to – I don't think they're going to like coming – I hate to say it, but like people aren't going to want to come play in our barn. It's gotten loud. It's gotten gritty. You never know what you're up against. We've got guys that are, we can put the puck in the net, we could score, but when, if things aren't going our way, we're going to do something to turn the momentum, whether that's, a fight or just working our butts off to make good hits, or, we've got different guys for different roles. And I just think that, we've learned to kind of protect our house and play at the Hitachi Energy Arena. And a big step into this next year is going to be bringing that same energy on every road trip. We're going to have some tough road trips this year. And if we can play that same hockey, that's what it's going to take in the playoffs. So I think that's one thing we can work on. Some of those road trips last year were just, it's difficult, but you got to play through it. And so that's something we're looking to grow on this year, I think.
Yeah, and you talk about road trips. It is difficult, bus legs are a real thing, but
Right.
at the same time, and Zemi and I talked about it a lot on the coaches show with the younger team. That's just kind of one of those things that, you do it enough times, you round into form, certain things become muscle memory, and it doesn't necessarily feel as much like a road game as it did before.
Right. Well, when you talk about that, the first thing that comes to mind for me, and I've been in the league quite a while, so it's I've been through some serious road trips, and a lot of them you don't get as much rest as you'd possibly expect if you're a rookie. So just the second year, your third year, there's less surprises. So guys kind of can expect those road trips to be difficult and prepare. If you're prepared mentally, you're going to be able to play better even if you're physically tired, and that can still win you games. And those road trip games are huge when it comes to making the playoffs.
They are, and it was huge to be able to pick up points here and there in those games, because picking up points in those games is what ultimately got you to not have to make the 14.5-hour trek down for a one-game playoff as opposed to playing it at home.
Huge advantage. If those, what was it, 3 points or 4 points that we beat Baton Rouge by for them to have to come to us. We were well rested, that was a close game. We had to battle for every inch, and that got us through to the Carolina round, which, throughout the season, we didn't have that edge playing in Baton Rouge, because that same road trip is very difficult. Going the other way, they get to sleep in their beds and they just show up to the rink. Here, we did the job during the regular season. We were, were we set for playoffs? No, but we were set for a home ice advantage situation in the playoff game that we needed to play against Carolina. So, yeah, like you said, that was a huge advantage. We fought for that. We knew, heck, as a leadership group, as the coaches, could tell you we all studied the schedule. And I mean, we play every game with the same mentality, do what you can to win, whether it's, like I said, get a spark from a fight or a power play or whatever, special teams. But every point, I mean, we weren't even worried about, well, were we worried about fourth place? Yes. But we were also worried about, I want to say Athens. What's
Columbus.
No. I mean, Columbus would have been great to pass,
Right.
but Monroe, we didn't want Monroe to,
Monroe. Right.
they
Right.
started stacking their team late in the season, and we didn't want to be, we wanted to control our own fate. We want to make sure we have enough points that we're guaranteed in the playoffs. Then once we kind of start pulling away, we needed to guarantee we got home ice advantage. And it came down to the last game against Danville. And then, we all watched the Baton Rouge game, and we celebrated because we clinched playoffs. And it wasn't a big celebration, but it was enough to be proud that, okay, we studied the schedule. We got, you break it down game by game, and here we are. We did it. So now we, woohoo, and on to the next. So, but yeah, it was a great experience. And like you said, those road wins are huge. Every point. I mean, those first games all the way to the mid-season, when it starts to get a little bit tiring on the body or harder on some of the teams, you can't lose sight of the goal, which is to make playoffs and be in a good position.
Right. And when you talk about, earlier on how loud the arena has become, and that really, I think, encapsulates the growth that, and you and I have been here from not the exact beginning, but close enough to the beginning that we've seen things build as much as they have. So, from your perspective, when you got here about the same time I did, that early November 23 to now, it's really a 180-degree flip in a positive direction.
Yeah, well, I was actually at the game. I was in talks with Zemi right at the same time you started. Now that was 2 games into the season, whatever. But when you were broadcasting your first game, I was in the building watching, and at the time, Jimmy Milliken was in the building, and I saw him, so I ended up watching the game with him, and he had nothing to do with the organization. We were bystanders, and we were just there to watch. I was there for a little more, but I was there to watch. So that, I got that first feeling in the stands. It was all Thunderbirds fans. I mean, it was all Thunderbirds fans and season ticket holders that were, it was too new. It was like the third, it was the second home game, I think. I don't know. But anyways, we started at the same time. So for me, jumping from that, obviously playing a bunch of games in between, but then it takes me all the way from, 2 years ago at the beginning of the season to this year, where we played the Thunderbirds in the playoffs. And that building was so loud, and it wasn't red and white. It was all Blue Ridge Bobcats fans. And I thought, even then, okay, we're going to sell out, but it's going to be a battle in the crowd. But it really wasn't. It was all Bobcats fans. I would say they had as many fans coming to our rink as we did to their rink this year. Towards the end, we had our own section in Winston-Salem. Just the same. They were maybe spread out, but it doesn't matter. We had, a packed house at a Bobcats game with playing against the Thunderbirds, where they did not take over the crowd, which to me, even at that point, was a little surprising, but it was amazing. And, the cowbells, the chants, cats, 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 everything just like, stomping on on the bleachers. I mean, it was loud in there, and I think the fans have appreciated that we've come a long way, and I think a lot of them have come a long way with us, and just meeting them, interacting with them, and now being around Withville, you get to see them and they recognize us, which is normal in other cities and towns, but in Withville, the first year, it wasn't like that. So it's come a long way in every department. So it's been really cool.
And yeah, and you said it, and we could talk ad nauseum about
Right.
the growth of what the arenas looked like from year one to year two, and,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the change with the successes on the ice. But I think, especially when you think about that wild card game against Baton Rouge being on a Tuesday night, and there were a little over 2,000 people there,
Yeah.
that just
On a
goes
Tuesday.
to show that
Yeah.
for a Tuesday night game, and
Right.
that just goes to show, and you've talked about it. Being able to meet these people, and we saw the signs in the windows all around town, throughout the playoff week there. A lot of these fans, just as you and I have seen this organization grow and been a part of the growth, I think that's one of the coolest things about how tight knit our organization is to the community that surrounds
Right.
us, is a lot of fans feel like, and deservedly so, that they've been on that journey with us.
And they have. I mean, because if you're, I guess all of them haven't, because we're gaining so many new ones that they're new, and they get there and they say, okay, I love this, and they jump on board. Right. And that is awesome. But if you look at the ones that have been the people that were there when I went to see the first game, and you broadcast your first game, and even say halfway through last year, or even at the end of last year, before the seats went in, they have witnessed an on-ice transformation. If you've seen it from the beginning, you've seen a transformation like no other. If you've seen it from, the end of last year, you kind of would have seen, okay, like they're getting somewhere. Now, this year, to me, the way it's been going, you can see the progress. And I think it's been from, it's not just on the ice. It's from hiring people that can take care of the fan experience. We just re-signed you as a broadcaster. The fans love having you call the games. I know, when they're watching away games, they're watching your feed because it's you're part of the Bobcats team as well. And I think, I know Jimmy's done a huge. There's all the hiring, all the jobs it provides, everyone who's grown with us. It's all, the brains are together and everyone's for progress. Like if you look at our introductions from the first game and our starting lineup last year, they've come a long way. I don't think there was necessarily a budget brought up for it or any, now when we line up and we get ready to get on the ice, we're hyped up. The fans get into it. That's how we're starting the game now. And that gives us an advantage when we get out there, but it also builds a fan experience. And like the fans aren't going to say, hey, like do a starting lineup. But when it gets better and the game's over and we win or we make it a close game, whatever, they're going to be like, holy cow, that was like, what an experience. And it all starts with, the starting lineup, the puck drop, singing in the anthem, all that stuff plays into, the games, the chuck a puck, if you go from the FHL to the NHL, there's all sorts of fan experience stuff. And to me, that's even come a long way. So if you put that with a decent hockey team, and guess what? If we don't play super good and we can brawl on that, that night that we're not playing well, it's like, okay, well, and I'm not saying we're going to brawl all the time, but if if we're not, sometimes we're not doing our job on the ice. Is it on purpose? Not necessarily, but maybe there's something you can do to create something. Maybe you just gotta, and is it always me? Definitely not. I mean, we got some other guys that have stepped up to the plate. Heck, I know some people think I could do it more, and I agree. It's just there's all sorts of stuff that goes on to hockey, but at the end of the day, it's about the fan experience and player growth. So from a player's perspective, we're always trying to get better. We want to put a good product on the ice because that's how you win games. And then you want to make it fun. I mean, I don't want to play boring hockey and win games. We want it to be fun for the fans, and we want to win the games. So, I mean, we could talk for a long time about the growth of the team, but it's been awesome. And like you said, I think a lot of the fans have been with us through it. So it's been cool.
They have, and you talk about you not only being the one to do it or always being the one to do it, da-da-da-da. Well, I'll bring this up and we'll quickly touch on it. I was going back through some highlights earlier in the week, and I had forgotten that a recent trade acquisition of the Bobcats and you faced off at center ice
right.
In Monroe, and now you two are teammates.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, he's
just one of those incredibly cool things about this sport.
Yeah, no, and it's I mean, it's one of those things where when someone, if something dirty happened between us, you could be angry, but it was like you could be angry and you can fight it out, and then either you're still angry or you're all good. It depends. But this one was more like the game needed something, and he asked me, and we decided, yeah, this is a fair matchup. Let's do this. And then it's all about respect. And so I think when we kind of duked it out, and it was just mutual respect after that. And we've kind of stayed in touch before he even signed. So it's just been, like I said, a level of respect since then. So for him to come over here, and I think we play a similar style. He's a heck of a hockey player. So it's just great to have him on the team. Yeah, I'd rather fight with him than fight him. So definitely good to have him.
That's the proverbial you love him if he's on your team, you hate playing against him. And as we talk about,
yeah,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, guys like that, it's like, if he's gonna go out and brawl, and I keep saying brawl, but I mean, if he's gonna go out and fight someone, it makes it easier for me to also go out and fight someone, because he's got my back, I got his back, and a few others. Carson's he's a scary dude. I know, he's nice, and a lot of people know him, but I wouldn't want to fight Carson Andrioli. Reller's a big guy. I know he can fight. We got those guys, and at that point, you call it team toughness, right? And team toughness isn't, heck, Merckx is team tough. He's a tough guy. We can talk about size. You can talk about will. You can talk about skill. Just we have we're building team toughness. Everyone's willing, and everybody kind of shares that role. That way we don't have to have one person fighting every single night, because that is a tough job. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, no kidding. But when you talk about, the guys that are coming back, you and you brought up Carson, and of course we can't guarantee that, guys aren't going to get,
people get moved up,
whatnot, but right.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
but I think that the biggest thing carrying forward here, especially from your perspective as the captain going into this third year, is a core is really built.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
now it's about putting the rest of the supplementary pieces to the puzzle together, and carrying that forward to in meshing where you guys that were in that locker room in Winston-Salem after game 2 and the guys that are going to be coming in fresh, you guys feel like you have unfinished business, and it's time. Everybody's got to be on the same page to attend to that.
Right. I mean, like you said about the core, it's just there's something about playing together after a summer off. And, when teams are really new, that first part of the season ends up tough. Now, we've already got that chemistry with whoever ends up, coming back from that same core. And to me, and I'm sure our coaching staff feels the same, it's like when you have a core to start with, it's easier to build. Instead of just kind of adding pieces to pieces, you're building, what you've got and you're adding to it. So it's just kind of looking for a few individuals that can fill in some holes that we either had last year or that we're missing because they're moving up. And I mean, we had some seriously good players that moved up last year, and everybody's so happy for them, and we want them to keep moving up. I mean, I myself, I've always just wanted to move up. At this point right now, it's kind of hard to put it in an interview, but I just want to play for the Bobcats right now. And I don't want everybody to feel that way because we want to progress, and I want to progress here. That's not what I'm saying, but it's just like, we want guys to move up. We want guys to play at the highest level. And that's what makes a good team. If you're, it's that drive, it's that effort, it's that want to get to the next level that's what made us so good this last year. So those pieces that we bring in are going to have to want to move up because, it's just the nature. Now, do we want them to stay? Yes. And that's the tough part because, Devin Sanders is the perfect example. He came in, he was such a big part of our team, and he deserved to move up. And we almost had him for too long. It was awesome, and he got the chance to move up, and I just don't see him coming back. Am I supposed to say that? I don't know, but he's too good. And we've got other players that are really good too. His progress and how, but we want that next Devin Sanders is what I'm saying. So we want to add that next guy that's going to bring something like that to the roster. And, if he helps us for half the season and he moves up, is it going to hurt? Yeah, but it's good. So that's our, I would say that's definitely our goal, is to move players up. I think I've talked with Zemi enough to know that that's what he wants. He wants to move players up, and it's important to have other players coming in. You got to know that, okay, he's doing really good. He might get a call any day, and someone else is going to have to step into his shoes. Now, that might be an existing player that gets that opportunity, or it might be someone we have to pick up, or maybe there's a trade or whichever. But, that's just, to me, that's where we're building from, is just adding pieces to our core. And I think that is the best way to progress. And I think we have a really good core coming back.
Yeah, I'm with you. And you talk about that kind of being a huge recruiting tool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You're looking for the next Devin Sanders. You see
Yeah.
Sava Smirnov end up in the ECHL.
Yeah.
Where you guys are looking for those kind of guys, at the same time that you want guys to progress in their professional careers. There's a commitment to putting a winning product on the ice and to keep, I guess the term would kind of be, cycling in a wave of talent on and on and on. And that's an important thing to have going forward into this third year.
Right. Like we want players to want to play here. And, coming out of college, if you look at Blue Ridge Bobcats and what they've done for individuals, forget about as a team. We grew as a team, but if you look at the individuals that have grown from this, I mean, myself, I've gotten called up from here. Mercurio got called up. Daly got called up. Now he didn't, some of this stuff's behind the scenes and people can't always necessarily go and take the call up, but our team promotes growth, and that's going to attract players that are capable of that growth, if that makes sense. So we want players to want to play here and we want them to move up. A lot of teams in this league will prevent, call ups because it's so hard to replace them. Well, our team has gone with a different approach where it's like, we're a development league, we're a development team. We want you to move up and we're going to find someone to do your job. It's not about one person, it's about the team, and we're going to fill your shoes. Thank you for what you've done, but go move on. And if you come back, we'll be happy, but you're always welcome back in Blue Ridge, but go do your thing in the SP, go do your thing in the East Coast. That's going to attract more players. And I think it just, one thing helps the other. So I think that's been a really good approach by our coaching staff.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. There are certain teams that maybe, won't pick up the phone, but I think that our organizational approach is personally is the right one to go with. You talk about your growth on the ice. You're coming off your best and most productive professional season. Yeah. You are the franchise leader in points. So we'll kind of wrap it here. Yeah. For you, what are your goals both personally and team wise here in this third year?
It's hard personally because obviously I want to do, like, if I'd just be setting them as we're talking, because like I always want to score goals and I always want to get assists. I want to play my game at the highest level I can, no matter what. So that's just something that I always have in the back of my mind. But like this year for me, a championship would be what I want to accomplish. So I'd almost set my personal goals aside, whereas I don't think I've been able to do that in the past. I mean, and you can't just set your I'm still going to have plenty of personal goals. I think if I could have a similar season that I did this year and maybe a little better, and I think that's absolutely possible. So that would be a goal. But just overall, we're going to have – okay, so let's go with this. My goal is to help mesh the rookies and the new players that are joining our core with the existing core. And I want our team to be 3 lines of players that are hard to play against. So whatever I have to do for that to happen, that's what I would like. And to me, it takes 3 full lines and 6D. So 10 forwards and 6D, or 7D and 3 lines. However, the lineup and this stuff changes on a day-to-day basis, and making decisions on who's playing and what, like, there's so much that goes on to it. But if we could have 3 lines that are hard to play against every night on the road and at home, everyone's going to hate playing against us. Our energy levels will be up, and we're going to play some fun hockey, fun to watch hockey. And I think we could build a championship team here. So those are my personal goals, I would say, which is kind of like team goals. So, but
one and the same.
Yeah, we could touch on some personal goals as as the season starts. But right now, like, I mean, I don't know if we're going to Monroe half the time or if we're going to go to Binghamton now. I don't know. So it's hard. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing the schedule. I'll tell you that.
I think we're all excited about seeing the schedule. There's going to be a lot of fun new places to go, but
Yeah.
you know, I think at the same time, and we'll wrap it here because I don't want to keep you too terribly long.
No, it's okay. I mean, I know it wasn't supposed to be this long. It's okay. I talked a lot, so it's my fault. Sorry for all the listeners that are 35 minutes in here.
Well, they'll be fine. They've got good attention spans, but they unlike me, they probably took the Ritalin before they started watching this. But
since they're true fans, hey guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for sticking in with us.
Yeah, thanks for sticking in for all 36 and a half minutes of this that we're into for what was supposed to be a 10-minute interview. But you know, we know each other. This is just like us carpooling back and forth. This is the same kind of deal.
Out,
but we're just hanging out. We're having a good time. But we'll wrap it here. You talked about the overall goal being to win a championship, and I think that's the big thing for all of us going into the year, and for you guys especially. And you as the captain is to kind of have that team first mentality and have that goal in your mind all season long, that, you know, the foundation's been laid for this team to the strides have been made. The foundation's been laid. All right. You got into the playoffs. It's to the point now we're just getting in. Is it going to satisfy anybody? It isn't good enough.
Not.
The goal is to win a championship.
Yeah. We were proud of ourselves as a group, but we still kind of felt like we fell short. So there's just no excuse now. This is, it's not, we got in the playoffs. Like, we want to make a run, and they're as difficult as it can be. I think we're ready for it. And I think that's just let me put it this way. If you're going to be on the team by the playoff time, you're going to want it just as bad as I do. And I think we got a group that wants it. So let's see what we can do.
I think you guys have a group that wants it, and I think you have a group that's capable of doing it. And you, sir, with the C on your chest, are going to be the one that's leading them into battle. So if there was ever a reason to get your season tickets, if you want to see all this guy can do, he can score goals, he can do assists, he can do the fighting, he can do all that kind of stuff. He's from Canada's capital city. He's missing a tooth. There is no more hockey guy than you, Danny Martin, and we couldn't be prouder that you are our captain.
Well, I appreciate it. So shout out to Zemi. He's putting it all together, and I know he's working really hard throughout the summer. He never stops, so he's behind the scenes. I know Jimmy's doing a lot. I know you're doing a lot. So thank you guys. And it's a long summer, but it flies by. So we'll see you guys soon.
It does, and it'll all pay off. Is it October yet?
Yeah,
we're getting closer. That's Danny Martin.
Yeah.
That's Danny Martin. This has been PodCATS, the summer signing series, a conversation with the captain, Danny Martin. Hey, don't get into too much trouble until we see you again, okay?
Oh, I won't. I'm sure I'll see you soon.
Sounds good to me. Hey, we'll see you next time.
All right, Brett. Appreciate it, man. We'll see you.